What's good, YouTube? This video is going to be about self-love while getting over a narcissist, right? How to love yourself better, especially coming out of a toxic environment or situation or relationship or situationship. So recently I asked people on YouTube in my community tab what they wanted me to talk about, what they wanted to learn about anything that I haven't discussed or I haven't discussed recently. You know, there are a lot of videos on my channel. People don't necessarily know how to get to things. So again, the first question was self-love while getting over a narcissist, finding strength in not giving an F. First of all, it sounds like they read the book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F, or something like that. I think that's what it's called. Good book. You should probably start with reading that. I think it's a good book. It kind of resets your mind if you don't have the perspective of someone who can say no. But as far as self-love while getting over a narcissist, I really think that the only rule that you need to kind of reset yourself is learning how to say no. Okay. Self-love is, put simply, in its simplest form, learning how to say no. When you're dealing with a narcissist, you learn to say yes. You're conditioned to say yes. You're forced to say yes. You're programmed to say yes or else. Or else what? The what is usually punishment, abandonment, neglect, torture in some way, mental and physical warfare. Like, it gets crazy when you tell a narcissist no. So we learn to say yes. We condition ourselves to sacrifice whatever our desires are, whatever our safety needs are, whatever we want, whatever is best for us. None of it matters. It all goes on the back burner for whatever the narcissist is asking for or requesting of us. Right. In these relationship dynamics, we often build resentment, but then we turn it on ourselves because we know we're enabling this narcissism by cooperating, right? By being usable, by being malleable. We know it's not right. We know we shouldn't be doing it, but we have a fear of neglect. We have a fear of abandonment, or we have a fear of abuse, right? We have a fear of retribution. Right? Because the narcissist is going to torture you when they feel like you deserve it. The narcissist takes pride and loves the punitive portion of their response to you, right? They take pride in you learning your lesson, not to betray them, not to disobey them, not to make things difficult for them, not to challenge them, right? They create an environment where you're completely disempowered, and that's your only way that you're allowed to be. Because if at any point, if you try to empower yourself, you're disrespecting them, you're attacking them. Right? They victimize themselves in your empowerment. So you learn to say yes to everything, no matter how ridiculous, no matter how bad for you it is, no matter how bad it is for them. You learn to empower their need and quest for authority and dominance and rulership. So again, put simply, getting over a narcissist, in most cases, if you've been dealing with a real narcissism, I know we throw that N word around, narcissism, of course, around like it's the only word to describe human behavior, and it's not. There are a lot of people on the spectrum. Narcissism is a spectrum. There's a lot of people on that spectrum that aren't necessarily narcissists. They're just assholes that are just a little bit demanding, that are just a little bit inconsiderate, right? But if we're dealing with a real narcissist, and you've known this, right, it gets very dark very quickly once it starts to turn. It could take a couple of years for it to turn. Whenever they decide to take the mask off, when you're dealing with a real narcissist, you become a victim, a perpetual victim, and that becomes the state of the relationship and the state of your life, right? So yes becomes your automatic because it's the only way to maintain peace. It's the only way to get validation. It's the only way to be a worthy person. It's the only way to be worthy of love is to say yes. So getting over a narcissist, the first thing that you need to start doing intentionally, the first thing that you need to start prioritizing over anything is learning how to say no again. No to every damn body if you need to. You need to really reset your mind around what you accept, what you allow, and what you add to your life. The choices you make. Empower yourself to make the decision and not be afraid of the consequences. Whether or not people are upset with you, whether or not people are mad at you, whether or not people don't validate you anymore, whether or not people don't like you anymore. Learning how to say no and mean it and stand by it and stand on it is the most important thing that you can do when trying to overcome a narcissist. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean burn all your bridges, say no for no reason at all. If you really want to do something, then do what you want to do. But it's about respecting your desires. It's about doing what makes you genuinely happy instead of doing what makes everyone else happy or what would have made that narcissist happy. It's about choosing you for a change. Learning how to say no. That's the most important thing that you can add to your life if you're overcoming a narcissist. Because that's the one skill that you need to make sure that you don't lose the next relationship you get in. You find strength in not giving an F, as she put it, when you feel people respond to your no, when you feel people disapprove of your no, when you feel people resent your no, and you make peace with it, right? The empowerment isn't necessarily in the saying no, but in dealing with the consequences without shying away, without sacrificing yourself to another person's whims and needs or wants or desires, simply because you want the validation, simply because you want the friendship, simply because you want the approval. Learning to approve of yourself and your own decisions despite whatever response you get to people. That's the empowerment. That's the art, and that's the benefit of not giving an F. They say practice makes perfect. I don't think perfect really is a thing. I don't think perfect exists. None of us need to be perfect. We just need to be more practiced in the person we want to be, right? That's the action we take to be the person we wish we were. The practice of saying no. The practice of putting yourself first. The practice of focusing on your needs. People often talk about self-love like it's an idea, like it's something that we can just do or think about or meditate about or, fluff our minds around. And it's really not. No matter what you want to be in life, no matter what you want to accomplish, no matter what you want to think about, no matter what you want your mindset to be like, you have to take action around that. Self-love is all about action. Self-love is all about the habits, patterns, and practices that you put in place to maintain your relationship with yourself and others. Sometimes the biggest action is a non-action, to say no. And it takes a lot of guts. It takes a lot of courage to be willing to lose the approval of the people around you in order to do what's best for you. So the strength comes in practicing that. The strength comes in repeated instances where you do what's best for you, and then you feel the backlash, or you feel the disapproval, or you feel the disappointment of another person, but you don't sacrifice yourself. And I'm not saying say no just for the hell of saying no. I'm saying say no when you genuinely don't want to do something, don't want to participate, don't want to add to something, don't want to do the favor. If you generally don't like the joke, don't pretend to. If you generally are offended, speak up. Say no to disrespect, say no to favors, say no to gifts, say no to energy, say no to conversations, say no to sex, say no to whatever you don't want from whoever wants to give it to you or take it from you. And learning to feel people's disapproval and not be changed by it and not alter your decision based on their approval, you start to realize that all of this abandonment, all of this disapproval that you had a fear of really doesn't change things. It really doesn't do what you thought it would do. It's so much more scary than it feels or than it turns out to be in real life. We place the weight of it on us. We give it all its power. It's really not all that when someone who's not contributing to our lives is too pissed off to deal with us because we're not contributing to all of their bullshit or responding to it or enabling it. Sometimes the best thing you can do is say no to a user. Well, all the times the best thing you can do is say no to a user, because they'll stop trying to use you and they'll go find another victim. We start to repel abuse, repel users, repel narcissists, and repel anybody who doesn't have our best interests at heart or who doesn't believe in an equal and opposite mutually beneficial relationship when we start saying no. You get the leeches out, you get the snakes out the grass, and you start building friendships that are built on mutual respect and mutual consideration when you learn to say no. You'll learn that you haven't just been serving narcissists in your romantic relationships, but you've been serving narcissists in your families. You've been serving narcissists in your friendships, in your social environments, and in your work environments once you start saying no and people start walking away. If you saying no makes anyone walk away, then they wasn't there for you to begin with, because everybody should understand no. Anyway, I hope that helps. Follow me at KidFake24 on Instagram. I'll get with y'all later.